So this episode was recommended. So here we go. What if the reason you feel stuck isn't because you're not doing enough, but because you're trying to do too much at the same time? What if the life you've been sold, success, health, relationships, happiness and freedom, isn't something you build all at once, but something you trade for piece by piece? And by the end of this episode, you're going to be forced to answer one question. Do you want a balanced life or performance and exceptionalism in a particular area? Picture this. You walk into a kitchen. It's quiet, controlled. In front of you is a stove, 4 burners. Each one represents a part of your life: career, health, family and friends. You turn one on. It heats fast, powerful. You're in control. You turn on the second, still manageable. You feel productive, balanced. You turn on a third. Now you're stretched. You're checking one while the other simmers. Your attention is split. Then you turn on the fourth and everything changes. Something starts burning. You're reacting instead of controlling, and slowly things begin to fall apart. The theory says to be successful, you must turn off 1 burner. To be exceptional, you must turn off 2, etc. And people hate this idea because it destroys the illusion that you can build a powerful career, be in elite physical shape, maintain deep relationships and have a rich social life all at the same time. But instead of rejecting it, let's look at the reality. Think about Olympic athletes. Take someone like Usain Bolt. At his peak, his life was built around 1 dominant burner: athletic performance. Everything else adapted around it: strict training schedules, controlled diet, limited distractions. Social life? Minimal during peak periods. Did he have friends? Of course. But were they a priority during his rise? Probably not. That burner was turned down. Now ask yourself, could he have become the fastest man in history while maintaining perfect balance across all areas of life? Realistically, no. And then look at Elon Musk. During the building phase of companies like Tesla and SpaceX, he wasn't working 40-hour weeks. He was doing more than that. He wasn't balanced. He was known for 80 to 100-hour work weeks, sleeping in factories, extreme focus. That level of output doesn't come from balance, it comes from turning burners off. And yes, there were trade-offs: personal life, relationships, stress. But the result? Industry-changing impact. Even in entertainment, look at Dwayne Johnson. His discipline is legendary. 4 a.m. workouts, strict diets, filming schedules, business ventures. At that level, you don't maintain a perfectly relaxed, spontaneous life. You operate with precision and sacrifice. Now contrast this with a completely different philosophy, the wheel of life. There's 8 areas, not 4. There's career, finances, health, relationships, personal growth, fun and recreation, environment, and contribution. The goal? Score high in all of them. Create a smooth, balanced wheel. It sounds perfect, peaceful, controlled. But here's the problem. The wheel of life is a model for well-being. If you want a good all-round life, you want all of those things. You want a job, you want good money, you want friends, family, relationships, personal growth. The 4 burners theory is more about performance, achieving huge success in a particular area. One asks, how do I feel fulfilled, which is the wheel of life. And the 4 burners asks, what does it take to win? And those 2 questions don't always lead to the same life and outcome. Think of someone climbing the corporate ladder. Let's say they want to become a partner in a top firm. What happens? Well, longer hours, late nights, weekend work, constant pressure. Now try to overlay that with perfect health routines, daily socializing, deep relationship presence, personal hobbies. Something gives. So what do? They prioritize career and finances, and they reduce their social life, sometimes even health. That's the 4-burner theory in action, whether they realise it or not. And this is the real trade-off. The wheel says, be well-rounded. Life is about all of these areas at once. There's no point in having money with no friends, no family, no social life, no hobbies, no interests. But equally, there's no point in just having pure social and fun, but not have a career and the financial side sorted. The 4-burners theory says just be focused. Focus on the one thing that you need at this point. Career-wise, focus on that. And then when you're ready for relationships, focus on that, rather than spreading your energy. But here's the truth most people avoid. You don't achieve greatness through balance. You achieve it through imbalance, sustained over time. Now let's go a bit deeper, because this isn't about choosing one forever. It's about understanding when to apply each. Because in your early 20s, we might go all out on career and growth. The burners off are the social life and relationships. And later you shift. You bring the relationships back. You build family. You rebalance. So maybe the truth is, you don't live a balanced life. You live a strategically unbalanced life over different phases. If you think of the cycles of seasons, spring, summer, autumn, winter, maybe that's the same with the burners. But here's the part people don't talk about. Not everything you pause comes back the same. Friendships fade, opportunities disappear, health declines, time doesn't rewind. There are people who built success and look back with regret. And there are people who stayed balanced and wonder why they aren't where they need to be in terms of one particular of those burners. So now we arrive at the real question. Is life about going all in, turning off the burners and sacrificing now so that you can have everything later? Or is life about keeping everything alive even if it grows slower so that you don't lose parts of yourself along the way? Because here's the reality. The 4-burner theory can give you extraordinary results. The wheel of life can give you consistent fulfillment. But neither gives you both at the same time. Maybe there's a balance in the middle. Because let's fast forward 20 years. 2 versions of you exist. One is one that has achieved massively, but sacrificed deeply. The other has experienced fully, but wonders about their unused potential. Both lives are valid. Both have meaning. But you only get to live one. So ask yourself, what season am I in? What am I choosing to prioritize? And more importantly, am I choosing this consciously or drifting into a life I didn't design? Because in the end, you don't control whether sacrifices happen. You only control whether they're intentional. If this made you think differently, don't ignore that. That tension you feel, that's awareness. And awareness is where transformation begins. So maybe you're at the point where you need to have a balanced life. Maybe you're at the point where you need to turn burners off to focus on this one particular aspect as much as possible. Maybe both theories are true. Maybe they both have their place. Maybe the long-term goal is to have the wheel of life, all of those areas as high as possible. Maybe the wheel of life is there to assess where you're at. If there's certain aspects that are 2, maybe you need to start moving the burners onto those sides. Whichever way you think about it, we do have to manage these different parts of life, and it's up to you to decide how to do it. And if you like this episode, please don't forget to follow, like, comment and subscribe. Just a quick shout out to our sponsors. Strong Coffee Company, protein-packed coffee for energy and clarity. Use code Vancrux1 for 20% off at strongcoffeecompany.com. And then there's More Labs, clinically proven hydration and recovery drinks. Use code Vancrux1 for 25% off at morelabs.com. And finally, Liquor Gummies, electrolytes and vitamins for hangover prevention. Use code Vancrux1 for 20% off at liquor.com. That's liquure.com.